Jacob. Jay, back to you.
Ah,
We'll
back
keep
to me,
the
huh?
question for next time.
All right. Well, I only have one last topic for today, and Jacob, it's very, very simple. I'm going to show you a video of a funeral that happened 2 years ago, and the fact that we're here in backstage, and this is the only place we can talk about this without it being censored by YouTube. Um, there is a cost for everything, and I'm wondering. My question to you, Jacob, was there a spiritual cost for COVID? Now, here's the video that I have for you.
Alan writes, I therefore offer you all a very warm welcome as we unite in love and friendship to...
You have to put the chairs back, I'm afraid. You can't move the chairs to resolve.
Now, I'm going to show this video one more time, and this time I'm going to explain. So this is a funeral
Alan
that happened in 2000.
I therefore offer you all a very warm welcome as we unite in love and friendship.
As the people try to go over and actually console a grieving wife, a mother, the person with the mask comes in and tells them to move and to separate 6 feet apart. And my question to you, Jacob, is this is something that I've often wondered since the pandemic. Has there been some kind of spiritual toll that people have had because of it? Do you think that something's changed spiritually with society itself, that our love is waxing cold?
These things are undoubtedly stepping stones towards the mark of the beast. It's part of an overall plan within the system, the spirit of the age, of the way things are evolving, to get people to agree to do this. Even though there was scientific argument against it, as well as legal argument against it. Yes, I do believe in that sense there is a spiritual significance to it. It's helping to set the stage like a lot of other things. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeb. I'm gonna go to you, David. Did you see the video of the funeral that I played?
Yes.
Can you give me your take? Has this dulled some people's sense of compassion going through the pandemic and coming out the other side? I mean, the fact that we can only talk about this in secret on secure platforms like Rumble. I mean, when we're talking about just in the world, life, we can't talk about this subject without it being censored. There has to be something, like Jacob said, there has to be a spiritual element to this as well.
Yes. Well, absolutely. First off, it was a bioweapon. Okay. And it's harming, it's bringing great harm to millions of people across the world. We're still finding out more and more. And when you start infecting people and making people sick and things like this, then it changes them, and it changes them physically, and it also changes them mentally. So fear can come out through someone's sickness, and then not want to have compassion, not wanting to be close. Absolutely, this could happen because of this. This is People are being dulled. Absolutely. And look, I don't want to be near this guy because he's got this problem, but also people are still wearing masks after all this time, knowing that they're ineffective because they've also become compliant, which was part of
Yep.
the thing that they want. They want a compliant people. And you see that over in China with the scores, the social scores. they're going to create a compliant people. And if they say, oh, you're going to get a red signal if you visit your mom, I don't care, we don't care if she's sick. Well, sorry, mom. It's just they're going to continue to just turn people into heartless, compliant automatons, basically.
Davey, I'm going to end with you on this subject. Your country saw some of the most draconian, oppressive measures when it came to lockdowns. Can you please talk a little bit about what you saw as the spiritual cost of the pandemic for your country?
Okay, well, look, I think it's still affected a lot of people to this day. It really has. It's been a shame that so many here just complied, and basically the church is here. There have been exceptions. I do know of a few churches who disobeyed mandates, remained open, still functioned as a church, but the majority of them just submitted to the government, and they'll submit to Antichrist the way they're going. But the spiritual cost has been staggering here. I know it's really affected a lot of people poorly. The funeral thing just took me back to my own father's funeral. My father passed away during lockdowns. Thankfully, the Lord blessed us, and we were able to have my father's funeral. We were actually able to have it out. We arranged to have it outdoors, but we were actually able to have 80 people. They lifted just the day before the funeral, so we were able to go ahead having more than the the 10. But look, the ones I really felt for were those who were in the nursing homes, in the old aged care homes, where basically daily they long to see their grandkids. They live to see their grandkids. That's the only thing that keeps them going. And for them to be shut up, denied visitation rights when they're in the end of their earthly life, they never get that time back. But the spiritual cost has been shocking. What I have seen on the positive side, though, look, those who were hungry wanted the fellowship, they wanted the word, they wanted the teaching. The Lord made a way for us. A lot of us connected on Zoom. I'd never heard about Zoom before. All of a sudden, we're meeting on Zoom. We've connected, we've grown. The Lord has brought us together in ways that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have the pandemic and the lockdown. So look, what the enemy does intend for our harm, the Lord can use for our good. Is it pleasant? Is it ideal? No. But if you're hungry and if you're willing, the Lord will make a way. And it's like, the Lord used the ravens to feed Elijah in the wilderness. He used different ways to put us in touch with one another, to keep us fed through the Zoom meetings. I don't think we've seen the end of it. The mainstream churches are just going to keep bowing down and submitting to the government until they eventually bow down and submit to the Antichrist and the false religious system. But if you truly love the Lord, and this is the thing, we're told in Second Thessalonians, it's those who, because they don't have a love for the truth, they'll be given over to believe what's false.
Yes.
That's where it starts. You've got to have a love for the truth. You've got to have a love for the word. You've got to have a love for the Lord. And that overflows into our love for one another and our love for the lost. So if you are not in God's word, if you're going cold towards God's word, if you're going along with every wind of doctrine that, well, I don't even like calling it doctrine, but every perversion that the mainstream churches are pushing nowadays, they're totally turning God's word on its head, as we've seen examples of it today. Get into the word, love the Lord. Daily we get our love tested and challenged. Daily, it's getting more vexing every day. You've got to get up and basically say, every morning, pick up your cross and follow him. Give your life to the Lord and get in the Word, pray for Him to strengthen and increase our love for Him, our love for the Word, our love for each other, because that is going to come under attack more and more and more. And that video was just absolutely abhorrent. Which brings me back to fellowship now. I'm pretty sure, Jacob, you may be able to help me out here. The root meaning of the word fellowship, doesn't it have to do with the idea of like eating off the same plate or that kind of thing? Is that correct, or am I mistaken?
Well, in Hebrew, there are two words. One is shutafut, but the better word is lehitaber, to fellowship. And it means bricks cemented together, like a body. Being cemented together is the Hebrew concept, that we are held together. Okay, that is the Hebrew concept. Koinonia means a shared life, like a shared community.
Yeah. So
We're
either way,
like members one of another.
yep. So either way, that isolation, being apart from one another, is
Oh, absolutely.
totally foreign.
Absolutely. When you had a situation in Canada and in other places, not only Canada, where the States even, marijuana clinics, so-called, and liquor stores could be open, but churches had to close. Now, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Liquor stores and marijuana, places that sold marijuana could be open, churches had to close. And then there were even efforts to close down house groups, more than 6 people in certain places.
You know, we do have to, what you were saying, Davey, was on my mind and everything, but we're warned that in the last days, people's hearts will grow cold. And Christians, if you're a true Christian, you need to make sure your heart isn't growing cold. That even though as bad as things are, even as wicked as things are, we still have to have our love.
Yes.
And it is absolutely that you have to make sure that you're in Him. So I agree with your definitions there, Davey. People better beware. Don't let your heart grow cold, especially as night is approaching.
And
Amen.
Jacob just reminded me too of like in Daniel, when he was all these things, they're always aimed at worship. They're always attacking worship, just as it was in Daniel's day when he was basically told not to pray,
Yep.
They're aiming for worship. The attack's always on that, even if it's camouflaged.
Correct.
Yep.